Hi guys, welcome! In this video, we'll take a look at all the class balance adjustments coming this February in RO 2.0. Most of these are buffs to less popular jobs or builds, so hopefully more players will utilize these unconventional class builds in the game. These changes will undoubtedly have an impact on the upcoming seasons of 6v6, 12v12, and GVG, so you should prepare ahead of time. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First, we have several changes to the Begetter class. Divine Purgatory Rune has a new third line effect wherein casting Hell Plant will summon the max number of Hell Plant. The generation probability for this line is 100% and all existing runes will directly activate this line. With the Hell Plant Occult node in the Acer Monument, the maximum number of Hell Plants that can coexist is free. And thus with this new rune effect, you'll be able to summon all 3 Hell Plants on the same place at once using one plant bottle. The only drawback is that it will not be efficient in some farming spots like Cobalt Forest, since the Hell Plants cannot be spread out. Next, the Berserk Flame Rune also has a new third line effect wherein casting Improved Acid Demonstration, Fire Expansion, and Crazy Throwing will no longer cost bottles. The generation probability for this line is 100% and all existing runes will directly activate this line. This new rune effect will definitely reduce the bottles consumed in GVG even without Mistress Star card. Next, the prerequisite learning condition for Fire Expansion has been removed, so you no longer need to allot points in Searing Storm before you can learn Fire Expansion. Next, we have several adjustments to Homunculus related skills. First, Homunculus Merge no longer makes the Homunculus disappear after use and will no longer grant active skills. Second, the fixed cast time of Homunculus Repair is now changed to variable cast time. Third, the third line effect of Void Summon Rune is changed from can take an extra Homunculus to can take an extra Homunculus and all Homunculi will not die. Fourth, the Homunculi will now automatically counterattack when the Alchemist is being attacked. The damage of Homunculi has been significantly increased as they will now inherit the special attributes related to the Alchemist damage modifiers such as Ignore Death, Penetration, and Raise damage increase. Lastly, there are also various buffs to Homunculi's skills. First, for Amaster, Golden Hoof's attack multiplier has been increased from 1040% to 1800% and its cooldown has been reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. Amaster's Wild Clamor can now take effect on players for 1 second, which forces the enemy to attack itself. In addition, Amaster's Bloodlust skill from Acer Monument has a new damage formula which will now deal more damage and no longer consumes HP per second. For Vanelmir, the magic attack multiplier for Caprice has been increased from 750% to 1500% and its cooldown has been reduced from 5 seconds to 1 second. The damage of Vanelmir's Bio-Explosion has also been buffed wherein its magic attack multiplier has been increased from 400% to 900% and the damage can be stacked. Vanelmir's Lava Torrent has also increased a magic attack multiplier from 940% to 3600% and its cooldown has been reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. In addition, the effect of Vanelmir's Magic Devour skill from Acer Monument has been changed wherein it now clears all abnormal status and negative effects of the owner and grants immunity to negative effects within 5 seconds. For Eleanor, Sonic Claw's skill multiplier has been increased from 670% to 1750% at max level and its cooldown has been reduced from 6 seconds to 1.5 seconds. It also has a new effect which reduces the target's movement speed and attack speed by up to 50% for 5 seconds. Eleanor's Silver Charge has also been buffed wherein its skill multiplier has been increased from 1000% to 3000% and its cooldown has been reduced from 8 seconds to 2 seconds. Eleanor's Midnight Berserk's damage buff to targets inflicted with Deep Cut has been increased from 10% to 30% at max level. In addition, Eleanor's Tinder Breaker skill from Acer Monument has increased attack multiplier from 100% to 1500% and reduced cooldown from 15 seconds to 5 seconds. Will these changes be enough to bring Begetters back in the meta? Next is the buff on the Wind Shuriken build of ninjas, wherein a new star rune has been added for the Wind Shuriken Swift Shadow skill. Its first line effect reduces the physical defense of enemies within range by 1% to 30%, thus a high value will reduce the ignore def needed for this build. The second line effect reduces the skill cooldown by 0.1 to 1.5 seconds, so at max value, the cooldown can be reduced from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, making it more spammable. As for the third line effect, it will change Wind Shuriken Swift Shadow from ground AoE skill to a single target skill that follows the target, dealing damage every second. In addition, when a target dies, a Wind Shuriken Swift Shadow will be left on the ground. The generation probability for this line is 15%. With this new third line effect, ninjas can now ensure higher damage output on moving targets. They can also use Kobold Leader card for a life steal effect, improving their survivability in battle. Next, we have the following changes to the runes of Arcane Master that will further boost the power of the auto-attack build. First is the new third line effect for the Soul Vortex rune, which will automatically cast Tetra Vortex every 5 seconds when doing auto attacks. The generation probability for this line is 100%, and all existing runes will directly activate this line. And second, Thunder Lightning rune also has a new third line effect wherein Chain Lightning's damage will no longer increase for each jump, and instead the damage dealt to all targets will be calculated based on the maximum number of jumps. The generation probability for this line is 100%, and all existing runes will directly activate this line. With AC runes, Chain Lightning's damage increases by 25% for each jump, and thus if you're using a plus 15 Scepter of Shadowy Wind and there are 8 targets in range, all 8 targets will receive the damage from Chain Lightning multiplied by 200%, which I think will be really strong in GVG. I believe that with these changes, the attack build of Arcane Masters will be more viable. Before we continue, I'd like to give special thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Smile.One. Smile.One is an international game top-up center which has been in business for almost a decade. They have hundreds of partnerships with game developers including Ragnarok Mobile, so they can offer cheaper BCC and monthly premium versus in-game prices. Smile.One Top-Up is available in many countries across all servers, and there are various payment methods you can choose from. Here in the Philippines, I can pay easily via GCash, BPI, or 7-Eleven outlets and receive the BCC instantly. Please do check out Smile.One's pricing and payment methods using my exclusive link in the description box below. Next are buffs to the Lightbringer class. First, the cooldown of Pioneer has been reduced from 60 seconds to 20 seconds. Next, the effect of Machine Learning has been changed from Pioneer will release an assembly skill at random every interval of 3 seconds to Pioneer will release all assembly skills up to 4 every interval of 5 seconds. And when buff skills are assembled, intervals are not used and can be casted even when not attacking. Next, the interval of parts replacement has also been reduced from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. Next, the first line effect of Mech Pulse Star Rune is changed from increasing physical attack by 1% to 20% to increasing physical penetration by 10% to 50%. The minimum and maximum values for skill damage reduction in the second line have also been adjusted from 1% and 30% to 10% and 50% respectively. Next, AI has a new effect wherein it will now increase Pioneer's damage by up to 50% at max level. Its cooldown has also been reduced from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, and the 2-second fixed cast time has been removed. Lastly, the cast condition of emergency support has been removed, and it now has an added effect which enables the Pioneer to share all the damage received by the Lightbringer for 10 seconds. Next, we have the following buffs for Saint. First, the skill multiplier for Holy Light Strike has been increased from 400% to 600%, which I think benefits newbies who started as Acolyte. Next, we have several buffs to the Magnus Exorcismus skill of Priest. First is that its magic attack multiplier is increased from 1250% to 2000%. Second is that it will only consume blue gemstone after breakthrough, so newbies can opt to upgrade Magnus Exorcismus to level 10 only if they still don't have the Light Fairy card. And third is that the Acer Monument node Magnus Exorcismus Mastery's skill damage to all races has been increased from 21% to 75%. Next, the Adoramus build has also been adjusted to synergize with Magnus Exorcismus, wherein the Prey Adoramus rune 3rd line has an additional effect which gives Adoramus a 1% to 30% chance of triggering Magnus Exorcismus. Next, the Dark Rival rune has a new 3rd line effect wherein the Demon Bane passive skill now applies to Dark Element monsters, and thus it will further boost the physical damage and critical damage of Battle Priest. The generation probability for this line is 100%, and all existing runes will directly activate this line. And lastly, the Divine Healing rune has a new 3rd line effect wherein the healing amount of Colosseo Heal can no longer be transferred and converted into damage. The generation probability for this line is 100%, and all existing runes will directly activate this line. With this new effect, Colosseo Heal will no longer be affected by Cure Barrier and Dead Soul card. Next, we have some changes to Rune Master that will affect the MDB build. First is the additional effect of Abyss Arrival Darkness, which grants up to 30% Ignore Death when there is an array in the ground. This means that you no longer need to be inside the range of the Abyss Arrival array to get the additional 15% Dark Element damage and 30% Ignore Death from this skill. You just need to ensure that the array exists to get the bonus stats. Next is a buff on the Dark Dragon Flame Star rune, wherein the upper limit of the Dark Element damage of Magic Dragon Breath is increased from 60% to 80%. I'm just not sure if the existing buffs will be adjusted accordingly to the new upper limit. Another buff is that the Dark Knight passive is now applicable to Dragon Breath related skills. It means that MDB can now deal 40% additional damage to enemies in darkness or blind status. And lastly, the prerequisite learning condition for Deep Cut has been removed, so you no longer need to allot points in Phantom Trust and 100 Spears before you can learn Deep Cut. Are these buffs enough to make MDB stronger in PvE and PvP? Next for Genius, we have the Auto Battle Logic Optimization for Electrical Gyration, wherein it will now be automatically released when the SP value is lower than a certain percentage. And lastly, for Stellar Hunters, the cooldown of Cluster Blast skill from Intelligence Collapse Star card is reduced from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. So that's it for the class balance adjustments coming this month in Ragnarok Mobile Eternal Love. What do you guys think about these buffs? Will these changes be enough to make these unconventional builds meta? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love you to consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.